have been listening to Yesudasan sir, and he has been talking very comprehensively about the situation. And he has rightly pointed out what are the situations, what are the issues concerning the Dalits and tribals in Kerala. And while approaching the issue of Muthanga, I have to start with some personal points because I have born in a village very close to Muthanga, hardly 10 to 15 kilometers from the incident site. And I was one among the cub reporters who initially reported from that area. And while approaching this larger issue, while starting from a personal point of view, that time my growth in that village in Wayanad, I belonged to a settled community family. And we all were influenced largely by the general discussion, the general approach in Wayanad that time, that had very scant regard for the existence of tribals. And that general settled community, they considered tribals as some kind of slaves. And also they had an equal treatment with the environment, the equal treatment with elephants, and whatever not economical. And on the other side, I am not denying the fact that the settled community, they were very hardworking. They were producing large amounts of cash crops in Wayanad and contributing significantly to the country's export outside. But anyway, what I found from my early childhood is that an extreme kind of discrimination was prevailing in Wayanad. A discrimination and an equal amount of insensitivity. That was reflective during the post-Muthanga period and also before the Muthanga events. So, the question is the extreme level of inequality. And the inequality and the kind of interpretation existed in Wayanad. So, when I started my work as a journalist at the age of 24 in Wayanad, I felt Muthanga was a turning point because initially I was a little bit confused about the objective of Muthanga agitation. Because we were all that time inspired by the left front discourses or left front's approach about land rights of the tribals. And also we had a false notion or false sense about environmentalism, environmental protection. And when we heard about a set of tribals encroaching on a prime portion of a wildlife sanctuary, initially my response was it is foolishness. Because encroaching on so normally encroachment is something, a right orderly inherited by the settler community from outside. It is not a tribal kind of struggle. And another level, there is very little possibility of government allotting this forest land to the tribals. But in that eagerness, when I shared the idea with the then editor of the Malayalam Varika, that time I was working with Indian Express. That time Jayachandran Nair was the editor of Malayalam Varika. He told me to write an article. Then I written an article sharing my concerns about the Muthanga agitation, whether it would succeed because the tribals are encroaching on a prime portion of the Muthanga forest. And there are little possibility of they are getting the land. And such a kind of aggressive agitation would invite large-scale state violence. The police would turn brutal. The government would turn harsh. And it would further complicate the land situation in Wayanad. It would further make miserable the existence of tribals in Wayanad. But after some time, I was deputed to cover the Muthanga struggle. At that time, the Indian Express Kerala editor was none other than Mr. N. Madhavan Kutti. And Madhavan Kutti that time was a different kind of incarnation, not the present Madhavan Kutti. That time he was protecting the interests of A.K. Antony and then the UDF government. And he had some vested interests. And every day he was briefing us which way to cover the incident, how to protect the interests of the state government by covering it. And even when the police unleashed a large-scale brutality of innocent tribals, he told us to somehow protect the government. And one day I still remember some police officials are approaching us and they are feeding some kind of information. And first of all, they arrested Mr. Surendran, K.K. Surendran. He was a lecturer in diet in Sultan Batheri. And after that, these policemen were informing us that there are many more activists who provided ideological backing to the agitation. They were in the list. So it was a very confusing period. And after the Muthanga event, frankly speaking, honestly speaking, I started learning the real kind of journalism. And in the last 22 years of my active engagement with journalism, I still feel Muthanga was a turning point. And there I started understanding how the powerful media houses and the celebrated editors are turning self-servient to the elite classes, the ruling classes, and how insensitive these people to the tribal cause. So the Muthanga was one of a big learning experience. And now looking back in the last 22 decades and more of Muthanga agitation, the Kerala is not discussing about the land rights of tribals, land rights of Dalits. And even in the latest manifesto of the Congress and UDF and LDF, I was not able to go into the BJP manifesto because it was only released yesterday. There was only a scant mention that the housing needs of the Dalits and tribals would be addressed. But these manifestos are silent about the land rights of the tribals and Dalits. They are talking nothing about the land rights. And in the case of Attapadi, because I have been in Palakkad for the last 5-6 years and regularly reporting from Attapadi, that time what I experienced was, or what I found from the close quarters was, the key issue in Attapadi was the land issue, the question of land alienation. And without addressing the issue of land alienation, the government was conducting Onam Fest for tribals. And they are distributing Settumundu and Sari and Malayali Mundu and Sattu, the tribal people. And these people, the minister, the tribal affairs minister, going to Attapadi along with wife and children. And they are having a sumptuous Onam lunch with the tribal people. And we are wondering what these people are doing actually. Because this Onam menu was never been part of the menu of these people. And whenever this poverty related deaths happened in Attapadi, we visited many houses. And on many houses, we found that rice they were keeping in big bags, the free ration given by the government. And some insensitive reporters were writing, these people had enough food grains, but in spite of the availability of the food grains, these people, these poverty-related deaths are happening there. The practical thing was, this free ration, this rice never been part of the menu of these people. This was not the normal kind of food item they were consuming. Then only the government started realizing about the danger, and now they started cultivating millet, pulses and other things which are audible to the Adivasi people. But the thing is that the latest reports are confirming that even in that case, the lack of direction, lack of sincerity, and even the lack of honesty from the part of the government, that is derailing or even this pulse and millets cultivation. Other than land, the key issue in Attapadi is water. Water is a big issue. Land is another issue. Livelihood restriction is another issue. And general health is another issue. Without addressing all these issues. And one more thing, from my personal experience, after the death of Madhu, the government has found, our survey conducted by the government found, most of the tribal people there are facing the problem of mental health. They had a lack of mental health. And Shailaja teacher herself took active interest in it. And one fine day, the Kerala government, the so-called left government, handed over the entire responsibility of ensuring mental health of the tribal people of Attapadi to one NGO, which happens to be inheriting the legacy of a godman from Puttaparthi in Andhra. That NGO, with active interference by the right-wing aggressive Hindutva, that people are now doing all these mental health restoration activities in Attappadi on behalf of the Kerala government. On another level, recently during the Republic Day event, the India government has facilitated one doctor. He came from Maharashtra. He was doing some kind of medical work. I have nothing against his medical work, but that because he is working among the people affected with sickle cell anemia, Wayanad Chettis and tribals are the victims of sickle cell anemia. And this man, more than medicine, what he is injecting on these people is aggressive Hindutva. Same is happening in Attappadi. Now there is a branch of the same organization in Attappadi. And the RSS and the right-wing groups are pumping lot of money into the tribal areas. And the tribal areas, without getting their issues are getting addressed, they are getting many things else. And they are getting new pilgrim centers. And the Hindutva groups are now making their influence more felt in the tribal areas. So the livelihood concerns are not getting addressed. Water is not getting addressed. The land right, everybody has forgotten. So now it is the election time. Climate change is severely affecting Kerala, especially the weaker sections. And the landslides and floods are turning an annual affair. And without addressing any of these issues, and without addressing any of the key issues concerning the marginalized communities, the government and the civil society are discussing about infrastructure projects. They are talking about welfare measures like some free supply of kids of essential food. And there's a total lack of vision, a total lack of engagement with the people and grasping their needs, and their total lack of sensitivity towards their genuine demands. That is what is happening in Kerala now. So we need to strengthen the civil society's larger concerns about the people in the margins. We have to rise aggressively, continuously, and tirelessly the real needs and aspirations of the people on the margins. And we have to, because the universities, the academic community, we have the duty, we have the obligation, we have to visit the tribal areas, we have to visit the Dalit areas, and we have to address the post-Muthanga situation seriously. Otherwise, the majority community, they already manipulated, misinterpreted, and they taken away all the benefits of economic reservation. Actually, economic reservation itself is a blunder. It is an oxymoron. It is totally against the spirit of reservation. And now the forward community is having a welfare corporation, welfare board, and its chairman is having cabinet rank. And whichever the front coming to power next time, the policies with regard to reservation, the policies with regard to the upliftment of the forward community, they are the same. There is no fundamental change in the approaches of BJP, UDF, and LDF. So it must be the role of the people, role of concerned citizens. We have to rebuild a strong civil society movement in Kerala. And we all have to take into consideration seriously the concerns raised by Yesudasan sir. And we have to have more focus on the ground realities around. And we have to give voice to the voices unheard. This is what I have to tell.